So there's this really controversial new law on the table in Iraq, and it's a big one. It could create an official army that operates inside the regular army. And this isn't just some boring bureaucratic shuffle. This is really a battle for the soul of the nation. It brings up these huge questions about loyalty, about power, and what it even means to be a country. Sounds like a paradox, right? But believe it or not, this is the exact question at the very heart of a massive debate happening in Baghdad right now. And the answer? Well, it's not just going to affect Iraq. It's going to send shockwaves across the entire region. Okay, so what exactly is going on? Well, Iraq's parliament is on the verge of passing a law that would take this incredibly powerful militia group, they're called the Popular Mobilization Forces, or PMF for short, and make them an official, permanent part of the state. Now, this law would completely transform the PMF. It would take them from what was supposed to be a temporary group, created to fight a crisis, and turn them into a permanent official military force with all the power and money that comes with that title. But it doesn't stop there. The bill would also make the PMF's commander a government minister, and that means giving them a seat on the National Security Committee. Just think about that for a second. The leader of a militia group helping to decide the entire country's security strategy. So who exactly are the PMFs anyway? To really get why this is all so controversial, we've got to go back and look at how they even got started. Their story really kicks off in 2014. ISIS was just tearing through Iraq, and it looked like the whole country might fall. So Iraq's top Shia cleric issued a fatwa, basically an urgent religious call to arms. Thousands of ordinary citizens answered that call, and they formed the PMF. And for a while, they were seen as absolute heroes, fighting right alongside the Iraqi army and the U.S. coalition to push ISIS back. But here's the thing. When victory was finally declared in 2017, they didn't go home. They stayed. And that, right there, is where the whole story takes a sharp turn. Instead of disbanding, the PMF has just gotten bigger and more powerful. It's gotten to the point where a lot of people are asking if it's basically become a state within a state. Get this. Today, the PMF has 238,000 fighters. Just to put that number in perspective for you, that's larger than the entire active-duty British Army. So yeah, we're not talking about a small militia here. This is a massive standing force. And you might be wondering, where does the money for this giant force come from? Well, it comes directly from the Iraqi government. The state gives the PMF an annual budget of $3.6 billion. That's billion with a B. This is not some rogue group. It's a taxpayer-funded institution. So what do you call something like this? Well, experts have a term for it, a parallel military. It's a force that gets government money, but operates with its own command, its own rules, and, this is the crucial part, its own loyalties. And the comparison that keeps coming up over and over again is Iran's powerful Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. To really understand why that comparison is so potent, and frankly, so worrying to some, we need to zoom in on one of the most powerful and controversial groups that operates under the PMF umbrella, Kataib Hezbollah. You don't even need to be an expert to see the connection here. Just look. On the left, that's the logo for Kataib Hezbollah. On the right, it's Iran's IRGC. The raised fist holding a rifle, the book, the style, it's not a coincidence. It's a very clear signal of their shared ideology. And if you think that's just a visual thing, well, listen to this. This is a direct quote from Kataib Hezbollah's own website. Their stated goal is, and I'm quoting here, to establish an Islamic Republic in Iraq according to the Iranian model. They're not even trying to hide their ultimate goal for the future of Iraq. And make no mistake, Kataib Hezbollah is way more than just militia. Yeah, it has official military brigades within the PMF, but it also runs its own media empire with TV stations and news agencies. It uses what are called facade groups, these front organizations that let it carry out attacks and then deny everything. It even has social and cultural wings to push its ideology. It basically operates like its own self-contained state. So, as you can probably imagine, this whole situation and this new law that would make it all permanent has kicked off a major diplomatic standoff between the government in Baghdad and Washington. And these two governments could not see this law more differently. On one side, you have the Iraqi prime minister, who's framing it as a necessary security reform that'll make the PMF accountable.
But on the other side, you have Washington, warning that this will do the exact opposite, that it will institutionalize Iranian influence and completely undermine Iraq's independence. I mean, these are two totally opposite readings of the very same law.
So the big question is, what happens next? If this law actually passes, it could set off a whole chain reaction of consequences, making the already complicated relationship between the US and Iraq even trickier. So what can Washington even do about it? Well, analysts say there are several options on the table. The US could pull its troops out of Iraq faster than planned. They could hit PMF-controlled companies with heavy sanctions. They could even make a big diplomatic statement by, say, canceling a White House invitation for the Iraqi prime minister. Each move is a different way for the US to show it is not happy about this. And all of this brings us right back to where we started. What happens when a government officially gives power to an army whose loyalties might actually belong to another country? That is the massive dilemma at the core of this new law, and you have to think that the entire future of Iraq could hang on the answer.